Ladies and gentlemen, we are in an ice age, but it's very different from a normal one. There aren't any raging snow blizzards, stampeding woolly mammoths, and we're definitely not in an animated movie where a funny-looking squirrel is chasing an acorn. This ice age is different. There are blizzards of economic downturn, mammoths of unemployment, and the students like you and me are that one funny squirrel chasing an acorn. Why do I say that? Well, simply put, in the movie Ice Age, the entire problem begins when the squirrel loses his acorn and seems to end when the squirrel finds it. Well, the squirrel in this case represents us, and the acorn is a spirit of entrepreneurship. Although this economic ice age isn't caused by the lack of entrepreneurship, it definitely persists because of it. And the only people who can find this acorn to drive positive change are people like you and me. Usually the first response I get to this statement is something along the lines of, the pandemic makes it impossible to create a business. And that is understandable. Right now, unemployment is at an all-time high, with entire industries becoming obsolete. So it seems almost counterintuitive to create a business where it seems like the environment is just not conducive for projects like this. But that's just it. It seems that way. With entire markets becoming dinosaur-like, there's a huge vacuum in the economy, which needs to be filled with new businesses, innovative industries, and interdisciplinary initiatives. Why are companies like Zoom flourishing? It's because they could ride the wave of demand of remote connectivity that was caused by the pandemic, which is what businesses need to do. This is precisely what I experienced with my project Compridge. Knowledge of competitions and events are scarce, and even more so during the pandemic, despite the fact that the pandemic led to a surge in the amount of competitions and opportunities available. In fact, I won the biggest business competitions for high schoolers globally, called the Tiger Global Case Competition, or TEDxYouth for short, during this pandemic. So the demand for the knowledge of these competitions is at an all-time high. This was a perfect storm for an organization that provides this awareness for students. The other thing that people tell me is that they're too young for all this entrepreneurial initiative. And they're right. We are younger than people who typically tend to start their businesses, who have years of work experience before starting something of their own. But today's day and age doesn't need, nor does it want people who have years of experience. It wants people who can solve the problems of our generation. Us. We can keep thinking that someone else is going to come up with a solution to solve our problems, but the only people who experience what we experience have the same problems that we face and want the same things that we want can find the solution that will suit our needs. Only we understand it, so only we can solve it. People also say that they don't have an idea that's good enough, and that may be true for a majority of you right now, but I'm going to show all of you how to come up with one. Every good idea and successful business focuses on solving a problem. So to get a good idea, we must first find a problem. And this generation is by far the best at finding problems. Have you ever heard anyone say teenagers complain too much? Do that. Keep complaining, and one day you're going to realize that there's one thing in particular that you complain about the most. And the chances are other people are going to feel the same. From that, you can find a solution that solves the problem, and soon you can convert that into a non-profit or a startup. Coming back to my initiative with Compridge, the problem we found was that there was a lack of competitions and a lack of the knowledge of these competitions. And according to the primary research we conducted, with thousands of students internationally, 90% of the students reported that they don't know about the competitions happening around them, and 93% of students feel like they need to attend more competitions and events. Going back to my experience with the TGCC, I stumbled upon this competition through Instagram. If I was not on Instagram that day, I wouldn't have accessed all the opportunities that this competition provided, and I wouldn't have won. So we at Compridge decided to solve this problem. We created a clean web app that serves as a listing of all the competitions in the UAE and beyond, with an active community of hundreds of users all across the globe. So, now you know how to create a business in a global pandemic. you know how you're confident in your abilities despite your age, and you know how to think of a great idea. The next step is scaling. How can you effectively advertise and expand your business? This is where networking comes into the picture. The more people you know, the better. So I highly recommend you start something I call netlining, which is online networking. This has become even easier due to the pandemic. Talk to old friends, a friend of a friend, or someone you met at a conference or a competition. The more people you reach out to, the wider your network will be, and the easier it will be to scale your business. I did something similar for Compridge. I reached out to friends of mine in different schools in different parts of the world through mediums such as Instagram, WhatsApp, and Zoom. From there, they gave me the contacts of people they thought would be interested in working with me to help scale Compridge. Now, I have team members from 4 different parts of the world who help me introduce Compridge into new markets. Even with all of this, I know it's hard to create a business, especially because of all the conditions that have been imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. But if we think about it, we just have to do what humans do and have been doing for over a millennium. Adapt. When humans started out in Africa, we didn't have sharp teeth to catch our prey, a sense of smell to be aware of our surroundings, and we definitely didn't have Logan Paul's music videos to scare off our predators. We adapted. Charles Darwin put it best when he said, "It's not the strongest of species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that's most adaptable to change." Nevertheless, even if you took nothing from my speech, get this. We are in an ice age, and we need to weather through it and adapt, because it will only end if we find our acorn, and we need to do this now. Because, ladies and gentlemen, winter is coming. Thank you so much.